Welcome back to Faster and Louder, guys. All right, we're gonna get back into this. So last time, you probably saw the video. It was part 3, I believe, and it was all about the electronic stuff in the car. So this video is gonna be a continuation of that, and hopefully the conclusion to all that. I'd like to just get everything working. Lights, you know, that would be nice. Previously, I had a problem with a circuit blowing. You can't really see super well. There's a fuse that's missing up in there, and that's the one that kept blowing, and it's for the turn signals and the reverse lights. Now, I know the reverse lights aren't gonna work. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna work until I get the neutral safety switch and all that plugged in. So I'm not super concerned, but I am concerned about the fuse that's blowing over and over again. So if I could at least get that part fixed, that would be good for that. I did in a previous video also find that there was a wire that was cut right there. So I'm actually waiting on the connector still for that. And then that'll go back together and it'll actually go in this connector right over here, this black one right here. And then hopefully that'll fix that short circuit issue that I was having with that. Then the other problem was I didn't appear to get any power to the headlights. So that was another thing. I don't entirely know why. It's really hard for me to tell. I don't have like a really good way of testing electrical circuits for a lot of stuff. So it's been kind of weird. Plus I just don't really have a good knowledge on electrical systems. I'm kind of just picking up things as I go. But I do have a new foot switch that is coming. It goes down there where that harness is, kind of just laying there. So I have a brand new one of those, and then there's the actual toggle switch that goes here to turn them on and off. That's where a lot of the power comes through, I believe. So I have a new one of those coming. I have a new dimmer, and basically all these toggles up here are going to get replaced. And then I'm actually going to probably take the gauge pack out and everything. Like this whole dash basically just needs to come apart at this time. So right now, I am just going to focus on getting this apart and ready for the new parts to be installed when they actually do come in. So let's get started. Let's see if I can pull this out. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, buddy. About what I expected, I guess. Okay, this is almost ready. I think maybe it is ready. I have one screw left on the top here. It's one thing I have been avoiding doing this entire time. I've never done this before, so it may or may not be ready to come off, but I'm about to find out. Oh, hold on, I got a screw over here. I have the screw mostly out. It doesn't really want to come all the way out. We're gonna make it. Alright, I'm gonna go to the other side. This is the moment I've been dreading. I'm afraid there's gonna be some nasty stuff in here. I hate dead things. Crusty. Oh yeah. Yas. Yeah, there's some stuff in there. I want to get rid of this metal panel here, I think. Yep, there's a ton of stuff living up in there. I'm gonna grab the vacuum cleaner before I do anything. Here we go. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Hold up. All right, plan B. All right, this is my new plan. Ow. This, I don't even know what that is. Oh, gross. Holy crap. Oh God, this is so gross. Okay, I got a lot of that out. I'm gonna try vacuuming some more. Just some more beautifulness here. Just making me really regret putting the carpet in before doing all this. I really did not want to take apart this whole dash, but the project car gods had other plans. So this is where we're at. I have the gauge cluster taken out. I have pretty much all the dash except for that lower middle console area out. There's a lot of crusty things in immediate view. So you can guess as to why none of this dash stuff is working. It's because I pulled it from the Titanic. This car in a Titanic, yep, same decade. Don't even ask questions. I also took out this metal section that was for it's like right above the passenger floorboard. It's in not very awesome shape, but I media blasted it and it looks a hell of a lot better. So it's not great, but you kind of need this because it's structurally ties in things, so I'm gonna keep that. And then this is the gauge cluster. Oof, pretty rough looking here. So I think I'm actually gonna take this off if I can, and I don't know if I'm gonna media blast this or if I'm gonna use some evaporust on it. I don't know what this is either. It almost looks like a regulator of some kind, so I don't know if that comes with a circuit board typically or what the deal is with that. But yeah, everything is mega corroded. Not surprised at all that pretty much nothing was working. No big surprises here. I guess in the meantime, while I'm waiting for stuff, I don't know how much of it I'm gonna get to today, but I'm gonna start repainting some of this stuff. I'll probably leave this alone because it has the lettering on it and I don't really want to replicate that. So I'll probably do this piece right here. I'm probably gonna clean that up eventually, the actual dash stuff or the gauge stuff. And then there's this piece over here. It's kind of dark over here, but this is like the main dash pad. I'm definitely gonna make this look nicer. There's the black trim that goes along there too on the bottom, and I'm gonna probably repaint that too. Just kind of spruce things up while I'm at it, you know? If you were actually doing a real restoration, you just completely strip the rest of this out of there and you would make it look right. Probably just dip the entire body at this point, but I'm hoping that I can keep this on the road without it breaking in half in the next 10 or 20 years, because I don't really have the funds necessary to do a correct restoration on this thing. So we're doing it the backyard style, which is making it decent, getting a good driving, you know, good driving roadworthy car and calling it good. Man, I am tired. I've been here all day. I got the entire dash removed, as I believe I showed already. I actually put some shop towel down and just sprayed it a few times with some evaporust. So maybe I can get rid of a little bit of the dash rust that I have going on. I'm doing the same thing to certain parts of the dash also. The speedometer, like I was showing, the housing was really rusty. So I actually soaked that. I feel fairly confident that the inside of it is okay. I may take it apart though, if possible, to look at the inside, but I want to do a little more research on that before I start, you know, breaking into stuff like that, because I really don't know anything about it. But then there was like the separate parts of the speedometer over here with the little mini clusters, and I'll probably take this one out too. after I get these done, but I'm running out of time for the day. I have these soaking right now. I'm hoping that they'll be rustless when I come back. I'm gonna spray them down just a couple more times to make sure they're wet. This is actually the preferred method for evaporust. If you don't want to submerge something, you can just cover it in a towel like this and just soak it for like an hour or two. Oops, tripping on stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with that. It's sitting, we're just gonna let it chill. I have this whole thing painted too. It's got some pinholes through it and stuff like that. I don't really care though, because this is not a cosmetic piece. It's all for function, so it'll be able to function. I have the dash completely out right here. I'm gonna get to all this stuff later, probably after I do all the electronic stuff and when I'm getting ready to put everything back together, or maybe somewhere in between. I have this whole post here with the light sockets and all that. I have a new one coming. I don't know about that one that's way over there on the side. I may have to get one separately for that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I have pretty much everything on the way. So at this point, it's really just kind of like getting stuff nice in preparation for getting all the electronics, and then I can start putting everything back together. So I think that's it for me for the day. And then, I don't know, we'll just see how much time I have. There's a lot to do. Ivan and Randy weren't able to show up today, if you couldn't tell. Ivan is actually getting more work done on the transmission, so it's all good. Randy said he should be able to show up next weekend, so I'm gonna hold him to it. We have a lot to do next weekend, so I'm gonna try to get all this electronic stuff done, or as much of it as humanly possible done before next weekend, and then maybe we can throw this door back on. I kind of want to wait now for this door until all this stuff is done, because the door's just gonna get in the way at this point, and it's gonna just make it more difficult. So there's the whole rear axle, which I'm still waiting on the shop to call me back about that, so hopefully that's all good. I still have the leaf springs and the shocks and all that to do. Right now, I'm mostly just concerned about getting electronic stuff done, and it's fresh in my mind. For the other stuff, I don't really care too much. It's not like hard to figure out. This stuff, there's a little more small pieces, and I'm not super familiar with it, so I'm trying to kind of like do this all at once, instead of kind of like spreading myself too thin on other projects and getting confused and losing parts and all that stuff. There's one thing I'll say is the guys on Facebook have been super helpful. I've been looking for some kind of hard to find parts, and they've been very helpful. There's a couple of really hard to find parts, and I'm not even sure if this radio suppressor is... I'm not sure if that comes on a new circuit board. I don't think that it does, but I do have a new one of those on the way. And then this, I found out, is actually a voltage regulator for the gauges. And this is probably one of the most crusty parts, single crustiest parts I have picked off the car so far. But I'm getting a nice replacement for that also. I am pretty bummed out at the fact that this tack is in pretty rough shape overall. It's just not great. I mean, the important and distinguishable part of this gauge is the speedometer, and it's in good shape, so I'm gonna try to keep it that way and not mess it up if I can manage to do that. The oil pressure gauge broke. There's a little needle on there, and I messed that up, so I basically just pulled it off the rest of the way. The face of it's pretty ugly too, so I don't know. Hopefully that extra gauge that a guy has on Facebook, hopefully it has some good replacement parts on it that I can kind of swap in here as needed. But yeah, I don't know, it's a little more rough than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I saw the back of it and I thought, oh, you know, it's probably just here and there, whatever. But then took the speedometer out and it looked like this, and I was like, well, or not speedometer, but tachometer, and it looked like that. So kind of unfortunate. I actually just saw a posting for this entire gauge cluster in like driver quality, and they're asking $1,200 for it. So that's my impetus for trying to fix this up and get this functional. I really, at the end of the day, I have the auxiliary gauges. So I'm gonna have water temperature, I'm gonna have oil pressure. So if it doesn't work on this, that's no big deal, but I really would like to have at least the speedometer working, if nothing else. And then the tach would be pretty cool too, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess, at this point. For this next little piece, just wanted to thank Ross, Bob, and Carol for these parts. You guys cut me really good deals on these. Some of it was even free, so thank you very much. One of the pieces I actually did get from eBay though. But I have this and some more still on the way, but I got a floor switch off of Rock Auto. There was that really difficult to find connector here. It's called a twin lock connector, I found out. So that was kind of hard. A lot of people thought it was a Packard 56 series connector, but it's not. It's GM style twin lock connector. So got a couple of those. This is the door switch for the courtesy light. I think I got that off of Kennedy or A-Mark or something, one of those vendors. And then these are some of the switches that I got from the forum members. This one I believe is for the wipers. I got a headlight switch. I actually have another one on the way, so this is going to end up being an extra, but I'll probably use this one. And then I also have a new dimmer switch. Not new, but you know, good used condition. So I'm gonna clean up these. Oh, and then I can't forget this. This is the bracket for all the lights, the idiot lights, if you want to call it that. So this is for all that. Oh, this is a screw. I was wondering why there's tape on the sides here. But yeah, I'm gonna clean this up also. I have to figure out where this wire goes specifically, so I'm gonna take a look at some of this stuff before I start messing with things. But this is a huge step up in quality from what I have in there right now. Let's do a quick A/B comparison. Okay, so this is the piece that I just got that I was just showing you. Right here, all that rustiness. That's the old one. And then this goes in like that. This is the new one. Pretty big difference, I'd say. It looks like this piece, let's see, I'm gonna look at this right now while we're here. There's an orange wire that goes where? Oh, there's a little, it looks like it's just one of those, I think it's like a bullet connector, they call it. That just goes right there, so that's easy. Yeah, I'm gonna document that really nicely before I start taking things apart, because that's a really easy way, really quick way to get messed up on stuff. So that's pretty much the goal today. I tried to do some evaporust on some of the other pieces that I have, like the tachometer and whatnot, and it didn't really work out as well as I was hoping. I think that for really rusted stuff like that, you gotta just let it sit for a long time, and it's hard to do that when you're not submerging it. They do have a gel that you can use also, which I was really considering, and I might buy a little thing of it just to try it out. But yeah, the evaporust did very little for the housing of this tachometer. Hopefully I'll have a replacement piece for this coming in. It sounds like I might be getting a whole replacement gauge cluster minus the tach. So if I can do that, I'll probably just take the good stuff from that and just piece it into this, or just take the entire thing out and then put it back into here instead of using my old stuff. And I could just keep this for spare parts at that point. Because like I had mentioned, the needle came off of that, and some of this stuff is just questionable quality anyways. So, and oh, I should be getting my new circuit board in the mail today. I think what I'm gonna be doing today is just replacing those pieces. I'm gonna clean out the connectors really good, that kind of thing. And then I'm gonna start getting the dash pieces ready to repaint to make those look pretty good. So that's what I'm gonna get started on. Okay, so you can probably see down here, hopefully a little bit, this is the hole right here. This is basically where it's supposed to go. I believe that this is supposed to be on solid metal. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's basically the way that this gets grounded. So Well, there is a ground wire in this connector too, I think, but I think I'm gonna try to clean this up just a little bit, and then I'll put everything back down on there. Nice fresh switch. Good positive click in there. Connectors are all shiny. It's always good to see. Just gonna use some simple green here really quick. Let that soak for a second. I'm gonna double check this. All right, so I have some contact cleaner. This stuff is kind of nice because it's like brake cleaner, but for electrical stuff. You just spray it on there and stuff dries up pretty quickly. Now, just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm gonna connect this before I even bolt it back on, or screw it back on. All right, she's in there. In there like swimwear. All right, I got the old one out, completely removed. Here it is in all of its crusty glory. That's just one more crusty component removed. Feels so good to get that stuff out of there. All right, now to put the new one in. Another thing I decided to do is get my drill with the wire brush on it, the wire wheel, and I'm gonna kind of like get some of these bare metal spots. I'm gonna try not to get the plastic too much. Actually, I'm not even sure if this is totally necessary, but why not, you know? Okay, so this go right here. Doesn't that look so much better already? It just warms your heart to see it. I'd rather it be heartwarming than wire warming and melting down the car. It's way better. Nice. Okay, now I can get the connectors. This is gonna go through here. Meets up with its buddy in the back here. Oh god. Looks like I have a slightly different. Oh. Uh-oh. I have extra wiring for some reason. I have 6 connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. And that's supposed to go. Wow, okay. This is gonna be different. I think I'm gonna have to do some modifications, obviously. I've been getting quite a bit done lately. Just a bunch of little things. I've been all over the place. I have this whole table covered in dash stuff, and things are kind of taken apart in various degrees. These bezels even popped off, so I'm gonna have to re-glue those, but I'm gonna kind of like make everything look incrementally better before I put everything back together. And I'm waiting on some parts. I have a new one of these coming in, with the one with that broken stud on it. I got a new one coming in with some extra parts. I have the new circuit board here, so that's all ready to go. I got the new dash regulator, or voltage regulator. I already have a bunch of bulbs and stuff, I remembered. There's a noise suppressor, I even got an extra one of those. That also goes on a dash on a circuit. There's some bulbs and sockets. These are the original ones, and I got some replacements. I had to double check before I went and ordered it. Glad I did. I let the ammeter kind of soak. Where'd I put that? Oh, right here. I let this soak in some evaporust, and it looks nice and new. I did super glue the insulating isolator. super glued that back together so I can use it if I need to, but I do have an extra one on the way. All of the switches are back in the car. I still need the washer switch, but that's also on the way. So I got the bulbs and sockets for the idiot lights on there. I think I already showed that. I also, in the meantime, painted the steering column, so that looks good. Painted this little bit right here. I am in the process of just repainting these. I'm gonna do these satin black. I'm not even gonna do like the unpolished steel outline thing. I think it looks more clean like this, just satin black. It looks pretty sinister, if you will. And then for my grab handle, these are always in bad shape, and you may or may not be able to tell in the camera right now. It's kind of on the dark side here, but there's a couple cracks in it as usual, but I figured I would make this black for a couple reasons. One, it's gonna hide those cracks really well, and two, it's gonna match with the trim pieces that I'm painting satin black. Then I painted the lower dash trim right here. It goes under the steering column, so that looks really nice now. I painted this also. It's not perfect, but it looks way better. So the interior is really gonna look pretty spiffy. The only thing that sucks is I gotta take that lower middle console thing out, and that's gonna be kind of a pain in the butt. I need to like get the shifter and the console back out of the way again, and then yeah, I need to paint that at some point. I may not even just take it out all the way because there's a lot of stuff that connects in there, like air conditioning / temperature stuff. Yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff there, so I might just kind of figure out a way around that before I put everything back in. I also have the dash painted, completed, sitting here dry. So things are coming along on that front. I think it's gonna be about a couple more days until I have all the parts that I need for the dash, and then I can kind of throw everything back together. Yeah, it's coming along. I'm really concerned that I'm gonna get everything back together and it's still not gonna work. In which case, it's gonna be really frustrating, because at that point, it's gonna take some troubleshooting that's probably a little bit beyond what I am capable of, so that's gonna be a little scary. The differential shop, let's see, we're going on 2.5 weeks now. They initially were giving me about like 5 business days of time, basically expecting it to be done. And it's been like 15, so I don't know if that's gonna be, I don't know if there's gonna be like extra labor or like they're missing parts or what's going on. They haven't really communicated very well with me on that whole thing, so well, I guess we'll see what happens with that, is what I'm trying to say. I'm tired though. I'm tired. I should be back home in bed, and I'm here messing around with all this stuff. So I'm gonna come back to this either tomorrow night or the night after that. This weekend, I was gonna have Ivan come over and help me out with the axle that I don't have, so that's not gonna happen. Instead, he's gonna stay at home and he's gonna work on the transmission some more. Randy hopefully is gonna come by. This is all predicated upon things in my personal life, whether I can even make it here on Sunday or not. But Randy is hoping to come over here and help me out. We'd probably end up getting the radiator back in. Maybe I'll piece together some more stuff on the dash. There's a lot of little things that I could use extra hands on, so it would be nice if you could come over. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start trying to piece together parts of this if I can. I'm not sure just yet if it's gonna be worth doing that. I might actually this probably be even better. These pieces need to be, like all this old glue needs to be taken off, and I'm just gonna re-glue them into the actual panel here. I was thinking about painting these bezels just because they're kind of pitted and look like crap, so I'm gonna debate doing that. We'll see. Right now I'm pretty much just trying to piece together small things before I get some of the parts that I'm waiting for, like on the gauges and whatnot. So everything is pretty much together inside, like as far as those lights go. I still haven't figured out how to replace those bulbs, so I might actually do that while I'm here too. These are the bulbs I'm talking about, the ones here for the idiot lights. I sprayed down everything, all the connectors. I scrubbed some of them out. I may go over that again just just to make sure that everything's good before I put it back in. Maybe put some dielectric grease on some stuff. I'm really getting to a point now where there's really not a ton left for me to do until I get those extra parts. The other parts, I think that I already mentioned this too, but I'm just gonna make sure, is the alternator gauge, the oil gauge, this whole thing, this whole cluster is basically, I'm just gonna replace it, I think, and I'm gonna keep the parts that I have as just extras. I wish that I had a tachometer because this thing's kind of gross looking. I don't even know if there's anything I can really do to make this look better, but I have a couple ideas. Good news, I have the radiator in place. I got the fans on here also. As you can tell, it's quite the cozy fit here. There's just enough room here with the water pump pulley, well, and the crank pulley. Down there where it looks like it's really close is actually just a wiring, so that'll be tucked out of the way a little bit. It's actually a decent amount of room, maybe 1.5 inches or so right here at the closest. So that should allow for enough room to move back and forth the engine. It's on polyurethane motor mount, so it shouldn't really move a whole lot, but I think that this will be sufficient. Or at least I really hope so. I'm gonna find out pretty quick. But it's in there. The only unfortunate part is, if you watched my previous videos, you saw how much time I spent getting this thing to look nice after how corroded and just utterly crap it was. And guess what? It doesn't fit. It's too wide front to back right here. The depth is too big to fit between the upper radiator support and the actual radiator. So I'm gonna end up having to use some sort of fabricated piece in here probably regardless, and the radiator looks like it's just slightly more narrow anyways, so there would be a gap here on the sides. So it would be nice to have something that would fill this in just a little bit more. So I'll probably do that eventually, but as it stands, that's gonna be one of the last things I'm gonna be worried about. I'll probably end up keeping it off for a while. What is it? Not evaporator, not condenser, whatever it is, the piece that goes up here for the AC has a slide in between the radiator and that anyways. It's just between the radiator and the radiator support. So yeah, it's gonna have to fit in there. So I guess it's not really that big of a deal, but at least I have this in here. I can start kind of connecting up some things here and there. Looks like that should be good. I'm gonna have to figure out. Okay, good. So that's on. I didn't even like pay attention to certain things, like where the lower hose, would that be inlet, comes from. It's actually on this side, so it meets up perfectly with the actual water pump. I do have a hose, so hopefully it's the correct shape. If not, then I'll just get one and cut it, I guess. But all right, boys and girls, the radiator is in. At least it's bolted in. I got the hoses on the lower and the upper. I believe I'm gonna have to cap this off here on the water pump where that would usually go to the heater core. So I'm not gonna be using that right away anyways. I wanna get the whole AC stuff figured out before I really dive into that whole thing. Except I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna have somebody else do that because I'm already in over my head as it is. There is some other stuff in here. There's that little manila envelope thing in there. That's for, I believe I'm gonna have to take this off. Oh no, there actually is a little tap in right here. So I think I might be able to use that, but there's basically a thermometer, thermostat, whatever, what have you, that tells this when to kick the fans on and when to turn it off and so on. So that is gonna have to go on at a later time. I'm not gonna do that right now. So that's looking good. The other little painting thing that I had going on here, this is the bezels that actually go in the dash. When you're looking at the dash from the front, it's right behind the actual dash cover, if you want to call it that. It was really just aged and the paint was falling off and all that. I don't really have a good way to do the silver / chrome look, so I decided that I'm just going to do black because it's a really easy way to kind of just sharpen things up, make it look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to do that. in preparation for when I reassemble this whole thing. So that should tidy it up just a little bit. I got to go back over this and clean everything one more time. I tried to clean this up. It's kind of weird. It looks like, I believe this is basically just a vinyl sticker that they used, or like a very thin kind of like tin metal. And I actually tried to use some polishing compound right over on this side, and it looks like it might be a little less cloudy on this side, so I might just continue that process on this side of the inlay and just kind of see how it works. It looks a little less yellow over here too. I'm trying to look at it at different angles to see if I'm just kind of imagining things or if that's really how it looks. So it looks pretty yellow right here, and then there isn't really much yellow to be seen over here, so I think I'm going to copy that. I'd also like to get a red paint pen possibly if I'm feeling up to it and just redo that whole red line that goes around the inlay. So I may or may not do that, we'll see. I'm kind of just doing busy work as I bide time, you know, until I get those parts, but things are coming along here. My plans for this weekend kind of fell through, so I'm really having to kind of just pick it up on my own right now. There's still those things that I can't do by myself. Like I can't get those rear shocks off. We already took the leaf springs and all that stuff off, so when you try to loosen up the shocks from the top, it just spins the entire shock. So I need somebody here to just basically hang on to the shock. And then kind of a similar issue with the shifter. The way that I did this, you really need to have somebody like on the bottom of the car for the bolts that hold the shifter in, so they don't spin. So I'm gonna have to have somebody here to help me with that too. I need to take that whole thing out so I can get that little remaining piece of the console out and paint it. And then once I do that, the entire console is done. Okay, I have everything all together now for the dash. I have these, I guess you call them inlays. They are painted and ready to go. I have a lot of the parts I need in here. And then just yesterday, I think it was, I got some of the extra dash parts here, which includes this, which is technically okay, except for one of the posts being broken on the original, so this is a much better shape overall, obviously. And then I have a new ammeter and a new oil pressure gauge also to go with that, which is good because my ammeter, the isolator was broken on it. This one's not, so that's a plus already. And then my oil pressure needle completely broke off, and this one's in pretty good shape too, so that's going to be nice to have those. And I have some extra parts in here. I ended up actually getting an extra headlight switch, so I have another one of those just in case I have problems, and a couple other things. Like I even got a whole circuit board. So this is big thanks to Bob that I also found on the Facebook group. So big thanks to you guys. You guys really helped me on this, like big time. Just finding some of these weird parts that are hard to find. They're not on any vendor websites or anything like that, so it was super, super helpful. So I have to thank all you guys that helped me out with this, just figuring out what parts are called and that type of thing. It was an adventure, let's just put it that way. But anyways, I'm gonna start getting ready for reassembly here. I got myself some glass cleaner. It's just some regular glass cleaner, like without any Rain-X or anything weird in it. I got some aluminum foil. That's gonna be for a different painting project coming up here in a second. And then I got some clear adhesive. So I need a clear adhesive for these inlays. So I'm gonna get started on this. At this point, I'm only missing the seatbelt relay. There's actually a prong that's broken off here. These are messed up. The housing is cracked now. The whole thing was really rusty. I can't remember if I showed that in a video or not, but I was trying to clean this up and it got caught by the grinder, the wire wheel on the grinder, and kind of just took it and destroyed it. So that's not happening, but I have a new one, or a replacement one at least, on the way, so that's good. anything out of the ordinary. I'm just gonna replicate how it was from the factory, which is just big old blobs here on the corners. Hopefully not on any paint that you're gonna see. This stuff smells like vinegar. How come I notice weird smells on stuff all the time? Take a little bit longer than I initially anticipated, so I'm gonna set this somewhere else. Just gonna let that sit and do its thing. This, I believe, can kind of just hang out for now. Let me figure out how I can piece this back together. I think I'm gonna wipe this down one more time, just to make sure I have a nice clean surface. Set my odometer back. Just kidding. So I did notice they have like these little green bulb covers. That's to make the light actually green for the dash. So I noticed though for the tachometer that it kind of like just unstuck from it. So I'm gonna put a couple dabs of super glue on these just to maybe help keep it from doing that. No guarantees, but you know. What do I do after using super glue? Immediately put my finger in it. You have to. If you're not putting your finger in wet super glue, are you really using super glue? All right, I'm actually gonna let that sit for a little bit before I put this on here, because I know that these holes that are already on here, they perfectly match what came off of there. So I definitely can't fault these people who made this, but even the original circuit, printed circuit, doesn't fit on the back of this perfectly. Like you kind of gotta like move things around and make it work right. So I don't really want the super glue to make that more difficult. So I'm just gonna let it dry a second. All right, I gave the super glue a few minutes. Probably didn't make any difference, but I'm impatient and I got stuff to do. So I am getting started on putting stuff back in here with the circuit board. I really hate these weird tin nut things. They're just so flimsy and dumb. Alright, I'm just kind of like getting things loosely in place right now. Doesn't have to be perfect just yet. Just approximately where I want everything. The one thing I don't know, I haven't really looked into it, but there's provisions here for more bolts / studs to come through here. So I don't know if that was something like where they just used the same piece of plastic but used different holes for the 120 mile per hour dashes. You know, this one's 140, so I don't know if they did something different, slightly different with the 120 mile per hour dashes or what, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about there. There's the holes on the inside of the circle. I'm assuming that, yeah, I'm assuming it has something to do with the 140, I mean a 120 dash, but I don't know. So now I'm gonna pop in a couple of these. These are the dash light socket and bulb. It's very smart of me. I got some brand new ones before putting this whole thing together, before I even took all this out. Pretty sure these do not have polarity. I could just be crazy because I'm looking at the socket again and it looks like it's positive on both sides. So it's either that or it's not a mark at all and I'm just imagining things. So I'm just gonna plug these in here and hope for the best. And I mean, I'm not gonna be putting this dash all the way back in without trying to test out some stuff anyways, so I'll probably figure it out one way or another. And I am not doing LED lights for the dash, by the way. I've heard that you can get LEDs that dim, that are dimmable, but I just didn't want any headache that might be associated with that, so I just went back to the stock style. and I think that they'll work just fine. I'm not as concerned about the interior lighting as I am the exterior. This is the constant voltage regulator. This is a very old school design. It uses it's basically like a passive design to keep all the voltage at a constant 5 volts, I believe. So I'm just gonna make sure these are kind of straightened out just a little bit, these prongs. And then I'm going to try to line that up. I've learned in this whole process that it's actually kind of a smart idea to keep whatever hardware you can. Even if you don't necessarily intend on using it, it can be useful just for sizing purposes and that type of thing. In case you immediately lose stuff like I do. Because I'm very unorganized. I'm a hectic person and I lose stuff a lot. I'm not very organized, especially when I'm on a roll. It's on there good. This appears to be on there well also. And then I have the crustiest, ugliest part to put in right here. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, the tachometer is kind of crusty looking. Little unfortunate, but there's really not a lot I can do about it besides getting a whole new one, like a replacement. There's no such thing as new tachometers for these, but yeah, they are not cheap. Oh, and I'm supposed to put that on there apparently. Yeah, I saw a tachometer that was basically completely stripped, and it was just the backing, I believe, and it was like $200 some odd. So that's not really the speed I'm trying to go at right now. I think that if I did replace it, I would just go aftermarket, but I don't really want to do that either. Okay. All right, I have my sockets in here. I have everything in here that I need, all the gauge stuff here. Speedometer never moved. The regulator is back in place, hopefully with the prongs making proper contact. Noise suppressor is on there pretty firmly. Okay, well, it's pretty much put together. I have one screw that I'm missing. This is too big, so not sure what I did exactly. Probably used the wrong screws or something. I'll figure it out though. But that's pretty much it. It's back together. It has all the new components in the back. All the important stuff anyways. So that looks good. I like that. I have to fight all the urge to just throw this in there and test it out, because I really do want to just test this out and see if all the lights and all that'll come on. But I'm still missing that seatbelt relay. I don't even really know if it's necessary for all this stuff to work. Probably not. I don't really want to risk it though, so I'm gonna wait a couple days for that to come in. Should have came in today. FedEx sucks, just putting that out there. But yeah, I'm gonna look for some more hardware to get this in there, and then try to figure out what I did with the hardware to actually put it on the dash, because I'm probably gonna need that. As I said before, I am waiting on some parts to finish up a lot of the electrical stuff in the car. So in the meantime, I'm gonna show you something else. I just got back the axle from the differential shop. Like I said, it looks exactly the same, except for they just basically took the covers off the drum brakes to obviously do the one-piece axles. So these are the one-piece axles in there now. Oh boy, I better be careful. Oh my god, it actually feels a lot tighter, so that's good. I bet you that I bet you the limited slip in there was probably messed up, because there's like no slop or anything. Like, this actually feels pretty tight. So I didn't ask them actually what they set the preload for this at or anything. I don't even know if they made any adjustments or try to make it a little bit tighter than normal, but I don't know. It's all done. 373 gears are in there, but obviously it still looks like crap, right? So I'm gonna take the wire wheel on the drill that I like to use so much, and I'm just gonna go over this whole thing and try to at least knock off like a lot of that heavier rust. I'm a little worried that the differential cover is gonna be a little thin. So who knows what's gonna happen there. But anyways, I'm gonna try to clean this up. I have some chassis paint from VHT, I think it is, and I'm gonna spray the whole thing down with it and just make it look like not crap. That's pretty much the goal. Okay, so I have all the rough stuff off of there. Now I'm actually going to use some of the stuff I forgot that I have. It's Metal Prep by POR 15, and it removes a lot of that surface rust and everything. So I'm gonna let that get on there and kind of soak and do its thing. Maybe I'll scrub around on it or whatever, but I'm gonna let that kind of take off what's left here, try to, and then after that I'll apply the paint and hopefully we'll be good. I finally have the last couple pieces that I'm gonna need for getting everything back together for the electrical system, I think. So I have the washer switch. I got this off of a guy on a Facebook group. Looks nice and shiny, pretty good. Definitely better than what I have on there right now. And then I got a new seatbelt relay. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna compare these really quick to what I have, just to try to make sure, that these are correct. Okay, so this is different. Damn. It looks like, yeah, these are different. Well, that is a bummer. I got this one. See, I think you have to specify what year. I believe this might actually be for a 74 because they have a seatbelt interlock where you gotta have a piece that goes, I think it's usually somewhere over here in the front, but basically you have to use this in order for your seatbelt interlock system to work, which requires you to have your seatbelt plugged in and all that before you can even start the car. I don't think that my car has it. It just has this. And I need this, and everything's rattling around in there, so that's no good. All right, so I just threw the switches back in there because I do have all of those. So switches are back in. Now I'm going to take the dash and I'm gonna start plugging in stuff on the dash, and I'm gonna see if we get any action here. I'm still not completely sure whether the seatbelt relay is really necessary to get lights. I think if it's gonna stop anything, it would stop you from turning on the engine. So I think that I should be able to get lights without it, but I don't know. I guess we'll just try some stuff and see if something catches on fire. Well, the dash is sitting in here. Everything is plugged in except for the speedometer cable at the moment. I am going to plug in this fuse here. I had the fuse sitting right here. Whew. Sweaty. New fuse is in. I'm a little afraid. Positive cable is on. Not super tight, but it's on. Oh, I hear buzzer. Got lights under here. Got the dome light. That's a very good sign. That means I did that part right. Well, let's check this out. The headlights are on. Uh-oh. Still don't think I have any dash lights for some reason. I may still be I don't think that I would be making the fuse pop still, but could be wrong. Maybe it doesn't come on if the key's not on. Hold on a second. Okay, now that's on. Nope, still nothing. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if that relay or regulator, whatever that is, has anything to do with this or not, but it seems like I'm still having issues here. Either that or this dimmer switch isn't working. Well, that was depressing. So the dashboard lights still aren't working, or at least they weren't. So I pretty much gave up on this, and I was just gonna end the entire video. And I was just gonna like let somebody else take care of it because I was honestly stumped. But the next day I actually came and I did a little bit more troubleshooting. I kind of came back with a clear head and tried a couple different things, and I'm glad that I did. Let me show you what was going on here. I've done a couple things since then, so it already looks different, but I basically took everything back apart again, including the dimmer switch that you see hanging here. And it turns out that this harness that goes to the back of the dimmer switch was actually loose or not on all the way. So I was having a problem there. I actually put a test light on it, and the first time I had the test light on it, I was showing power, and then I must have moved it just a little bit and it wasn't showing any power at all again. So it turns out it was just that harness back there, this little black piece right here. And I may replace this. I think I do actually have a replacement. I'm gonna take a look at that amongst some other things. So what happened was I put that back tight and everything, and I kind of went through everything again, and I actually did get dash lights this time. So I was super happy, but I wasn't recording any of it. And I ended up taking the dash back out anyways. I knew I was going to have to, probably at least, in order to get the speedometer cable back on. I took it back off because there's a light that goes on the tachometer. I'll show you here. It's this green cap right here. It has a crap load of silicone on it now. That is how the dash actually gets their green color. It's not the bulb itself. The bulb fits into this green cap, this housing, and the light itself is white, but then this makes it green. So anyways, there's tiny little nubs on the back of it, and I think that I showed me super gluing the other ones to try to help keep it in there just in case, but this one popped back out. And I think that it popped out when I was putting a light bulb and socket in here, and it just pushed it back out this way. So I just put a crap load of silicone on there. I think it'll be just fine with that. It doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. And then while I had it at my house, I actually took all this home, and I got some red, what is it, Testors. It's like a Testors paint pen. I've used it for some other stuff, or their paint pens at least. And I put the red stripe back on the entire inlay. So I mean, the rest of it's in so-so condition, but you know, it's the little things that count. So I like that I have it back on there, and at least to me it's more complete looking, and it just looks a little bit nicer. When I was off camera testing other stuff, I also found out that the parking lights and the brake lights worked also. I was able to press the brakes and see that the lights get brighter and all that good stuff. The only thing that doesn't work is the turn signals. So I'm gonna try a couple things here and just see if I can get that to work too. But anyways, I'm gonna quit talking. I'm gonna put all this back together. I'm gonna prove to you this works. Okay, I have the gauge sitting in the car right now. Everything's connected, but it's just sitting there. Same with the dimmer switch and a few other things. And then I actually did the same with the turn signals up here. They're kind of just sitting on that lower radiator support. And then the headlights. These are LED headlights, but regular turn signals in the front. I have the LED turn signals and taillights in the back. I'm going to connect the battery now, and I'm gonna check everything. This is the first time I've tried to check headlights also, so I don't really know what's gonna happen with that. It's kind of been a hit or miss, so let's just see what happens. Okay, I'm turning, it's the parking light, I think it is. Oh, I see headlights. Oh, nice. Oh, and I got parking lights in the front, sweet. Damn, those are bright. That's awesome. Okay, I got the lights in the back. She's alive! Here, let's try the turn signals, see if anything happens. I don't think anything's happening with the turn signals. That may be the flashers that I have. I actually bought a separate backup because I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Okay, now gauge lights. That's dim. That's all the way up. It's kind of hard to see in this light right now. Let me turn this off. Kind of on the dim side. I'm not really sure if that's because of the battery or draw somewhere else or anything like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and start connecting stuff back up. I'm actually gonna try, let's see, try not to touch these over here on the ammeter, because a lot of voltage runs through that and I don't want to feel it. I should probably be more excited than I am, but I have pretty much all the lights except for the turn signals in the back. The parking lights are working, so that's good. That means the reverse lights should work once it's all connected, but I don't have the transmission or neutral safety switch or anything connected. So really quick before I end the video, I'm gonna try to put in those new flashers that I got and see if that makes any difference with the turn signals. But either way, I'm probably just gonna put everything back together for the dash, and then that's gonna be like 90% of my electrical work. So kind of a sigh of relief from me. Okay, I have hazards in the front. I have hazards in the back. But one thing is, when I turn off the hazards, let's see, and then I try to turn on a turn signal, I have nothing. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I tried switching the flashers and stuff and that didn't seem to work, so I don't know if something's going on to this turn signal switch, but I literally just replaced this when I did all the column stuff, so unless I installed it wrong, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I do know that it switches both ways. It does cancel when you turn a wheel and all that, so I'm not really sure. I'm not really worried about it. I'm gonna start throwing all this stuff back together and then we're gonna call it good. Well, there we have it. The dash is mocked in. I don't really have a lot of stuff tightened down, and I don't have stuff actually put back together over there. But I have, generally speaking, dash lights and all the other lights. Obviously, I still had to figure out the turn signal issue. Dashboard still needs to go back together all the way. And then there seems to be like a problem where it doesn't go all the way back down to like nothing. The lights like kind of stay dim a little bit and get brighter instead of going all the way down. I think that probably has something to do with the LEDs, because there's less draw basically on the circuit. So I'm gonna have to figure that out too, but these things are minor in comparison to basically just getting this whole thing sorted out in the first place. So that was a very long episode, a lot to go through. I appreciate you guys following along with it. If you like this video, please like it, leave a comment, subscribe, share the video. That would help me out big time. Thanks guys, until next time, later.